All right, welcome everyone. Ross Simmons here, as Craig said, from Color. This is the second of our six webinar series on online marketing and social media. As some of you can probably tell from the photo, today's session is all about Facebook. Facebook is one of the leading social networks today, and it is really taking the world by storm and really putting marketing and business 101 on its head. Today's session, we're going to really take what we talked about on Monday, which was more of a foundation for marketing 101 and strategy, and really get into some of the tactical pieces that will allow you to build on that concept of developing a relevant, real story and combining that with the fundamentals of marketing 101 and bringing that to life through Facebook. For a lot of you who are already using Facebook for your business, organization, a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today will be things that you've already done, seen, or possibly have already implemented for your business. It's important to know that this is the 101 session, so a lot of this stuff was covered in some of the in-person sessions, and it might be a little bit of a reminder for anyone who is already actively using Facebook on a daily basis. Before we dive in, it's also important to note that all the audio, the slides, as well as the actual recording for this session will be available after the session takes place. So with all the legal information out of the way, let's get started. Today's session, we're going to start by kind of focusing on a few key things, whether that's differentiating and providing you guys with a little bit of insight so you can understand the difference between the key platforms within Facebook. That is pages, profiles, and groups. We're going to dive into each of those and kind of get an understanding of what makes them different and how you can ensure that your business is set up in the right way. The right way, I'll give away a quick secret, is to develop a page. And we're also going to look at how you can utilize the page to bring your business to life. We're going to go through kind of the community management side of the page. So what kind of things can you share on a regular basis on your Facebook page that will allow you to reach success? And then from there, we're going to get into a little bit of the measurement analytics around how you can use some insights from ongoing analytics around your Facebook page to make educated decisions moving forward. From there, recently, Facebook made a significant change, and that was the launch of Timeline. And Timeline is one of my best friends from a marketing perspective because it allows us as marketers to really bring our brands to life. So what we're going to be also talking about today is how we can hack Timeline to bring our businesses to life and really tell that story that we talked about on Monday about your brand, about your business, and really how you can build that deep relationship with your customers. On next week, we'll be diving into Facebook 2.0, and that's where we'll get into things like Facebook ads and dive a little bit deeper. Again, for now, we're going to be talking very high level in terms of the 101 and then driving deeper into the tactics. And for anyone who recently jumped on the call, just press *6 and you'll be muted, but you'll still be able to hear me. All right. So there's a quote that anybody who's talked to me before knows my obsession with Dr. Seuss, and this is a quote that really stood out for me as I go through these webinars and these sessions. You have brains in your head and feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. It's a simple quote, and you don't really realize how smart Dr. Seuss is until you get older. But this quote on its own is really what the foundation of all of these webinars is. If you are willing to take the knowledge that you're receiving after these webinars and actually implement them, you will be able to find success on Facebook, on TripAdvisor, on all of these channels that we are approaching. The key difference between those businesses who will succeed and those who will not are the ones who actually step up to the plate and actually start implementing these things. Last session, we talked about storytelling. We talked about the foundation of marketing. We talked about social media as a general practice. If you can take that knowledge and apply it to what we're doing today and actually do it, I can guarantee you, you will find success. So anyone who knows about social media can run a Facebook page. It's simple as that. During last session, we talked about the power of combining great storytelling with social media. We discussed the importance of telling a relevant personal story and how, when combined with Marketing 101, you can find that great business success. We talked about how important it is to engage, interact, Um, and what we need to do is take that and apply it to Facebook. Now, before you run blindly into the eye of the storm, which is Facebook, you need to have a plan. You have to have a strategy. You have to have an idea of why you're there. So some of the factors that need to come into play when you make the decision, okay, my business needs a Facebook page, includes things like this. You need to know your target audience, know who it is you're going to be talking to. And once you have identified that, you need to ensure that the story that you're telling through your status updates, through your ads, through your photos, is something that would be relevant or cool, so to speak, to that target audience. From there, you need to identify your objectives. So, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Are you simply looking to use Facebook as a place where you can resolve customer service issues? Or are you looking to use Facebook as a place where you can generate awareness and you're going to be constantly trying to find those ways where you can have those viral status updates, those viral posts? From there, you want to get into content strategy. So, what type of content can you create? And what type of content can you create over the long term? You need to really dive into these kind of questions to ensure that your goals and objectives are an outset from your efforts that are happening on Facebook. In general, you want to keep these points in mind as you start to develop your Facebook plan. So, before we dive in, just to ensure that everybody understands the importance of Facebook, I thought it would be important to kind of go quickly through a few key stats on Facebook and where it stands today. On Monday, I kind of explained my love and obsession for football. And what I was able to find recently was that the number of Sunday night viewers for football, NFL, combined with the Tuesday night viewers of American Idol, is equal together as the same amount of people who visit Facebook every single day in the US. And that's just in the US. If you looked at it from a global scale, we're talking close to 100 million people a day visiting this thing. So the question that I ask is, why would you not be here? Advertisers spend millions and millions of dollars to have an ad spend on Sunday Night Football. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to have that ad media buy on American Idol. All you have to do is put in the time and the effort, and you, with a compelling story, have the ability to reach thousands, hundreds, millions of people through Facebook channels simply by putting in the time and the effort to tell that compelling story. 200 million people each month visit Facebook on their mobile device. So, why is this important? Well, it's important because, for the most part, when it comes to the tourism industry, when people interact with you, that interaction is happening in person. The most important interaction that you have is happening when that person is at your hotel, when they're sitting in a seat at your restaurant, when they're buying your product, when they first see you and your product. That first impression, the only access that they have is that mobile device. So when they're in person, they're not pulling out a laptop. They're pulling out their phones and they're updating their Facebook status. They're saying, I just had a great lunch at XYZ restaurant. I just had an amazing stay at so and so bed and breakfast. But at the same time, they're also doing status updates that aren't so happy and aren't so pleasant. So, what we need to do is recognize the fact that our consumers are already there. They're already using their mobile devices to be connected to one another. They have friends, and their friends are listening to their status updates about you. More than half of these users will return daily. So that 50 million people who log on every day, 25 million of them are coming back later that day. On the first slide, I showed kind of a slide, it's kind of funny, of somebody who's sniffing Facebook powder. And that's where it's gone. People are obsessed with Facebook. People spend tons and tons of time on it. And if our brands, if our businesses don't see that opportunity, then you're going to miss the boat. So it's definitely something that you need to capitalize on. From there, what's important is to recognize the importance of having fans on your Facebook. So one key thing to keep in mind is that fans are more valuable when they impact their friends. Meaning, if I like your page and I'm interested in your brand and I find your story compelling and relevant, I'm much more likely to start to share your content with my friends. If I, as an individual, have 250 friends and you have 1,000 fans, and I'm just the average. And all of those fans have 250 friends as well. As soon as I press that share button, my connections start to see that content. So it starts to create that viral loop. It puts your brand in front of more people. And this is something that doesn't exist anywhere else beyond the digital world. I mean, I can't see an advertisement on TV and then say, oh, I need to share this with a friend. It just doesn't happen. I can't take what I'm seeing with my eyes and transfer that to someone else. But what I can do is if I'm on Facebook and I see something that you're sharing that is relevant and compelling, and I believe that my network will find value in it, I'm more likely to share it with them. And once that takes place, it elevates your brand and it allows you to be connected to people who you originally weren't. And people are connecting with their favorite businesses all over the world. People love connecting with businesses. If you're providing that relevant and interesting content, they want to like you. They really do. So what you need to do is ensure that you're there, you're providing that relevant content, and that you're developing a relationship that is authentic and truly telling the story of your business. That's really the most important thing. Another key stat, I talked about this one a little bit before. A few months ago, my mom signed up for Facebook, and as you can see, this is kind of what happened, and it was kind of shocking. She just started liking all of my photos, and this is the fastest growing demographic on Facebook. It's women above the age of 45 plus. They are using these channels, they're embracing it, and they are constantly signing up. And these are the people who are making the majority of the affluent business decisions. I mean, consumer decisions. I mean, the purchasing decisions that are happening in the home are typically happening from women. So, recognizing that females above the age of 45 are the fastest growing demographic on Facebook is a huge opportunity for anyone in the tourism industry because they're the ones who are contacting their husbands and saying, this is where we're going. This is where we're taking the kids. This is where we're going for a restaurant. This is where I want to go. And they're making those decisions. They lead it. There's studies that show that the majority of the purchasing decisions within a home, beyond those that are related to technology, happen from the woman, which is why we need to be there. This is why we need to recognize the importance of utilizing Facebook in this ever changing world. Um, when I speak of this ever changing world, it's changing because the world is more connected than ever. We are more connected to brands, to one another, and it's all happening because of this shift in the way that we communicate. So instead of a marketing funnel, it kind of looks like this, where consumers are starting by learning. They're educating themselves. They're able to do a quick Google search. They're able to go to TripAdvisor and find out about a variety of different products and brands. And once they start to get a little bit of insight and they actually learn about your business, it moves into investigation. And that's when they start to share their status updates and they ask their friends, hey, what do you guys think about this? Has anybody been to this restaurant before? Has anybody stayed at this hotel? What was your experience like? This is where they start to investigate things like TripAdvisor. When they start to check you out on Facebook and see if there's negative comments about your brand, this is where they start to investigate. Consumers are no longer restricted to only seeing a yellow pages and reading an ad in that. They are now open to a world where they're able to be connected to other consumers who have had a brand experience for you and ultimately base that information on how they make their purchase. And once that purchase takes place, if they have a positive relationship with your business and a positive experience, they're more likely to press that like button on Facebook, which is really one of the ultimate goals. Because once they like you, there's a 51% chance that they're more likely to buy from you again, and they're more likely to stay committed to you. And that happens over time because you're telling that compelling story and you're able to develop that true relationship with your customers. From there, it gets into interaction. And that's kind of where that relationship building really starts to happen. It's when contests are happening, when promotions are taking place, when you're sharing those interesting stories. That's the new landscape of this connected world we live in. So, what we need to do is embrace it. We need to embrace this new consumer. We need to embrace the fact that they're looking to learn, investigate, and then purchase followed by interact with us so we can achieve our business goals and objectives. And that's how we'll find success using Facebook. So now what we're going to do is dive into really Facebook 101. And this is the first part, and the first question I always get is what's the difference between a profile, a page, and a group? For anyone who is not on Facebook yet, if you go to facebook.com, you'll come across a screen like this. And on this screen, you have up at the top a place where you're able to log in, and then below a place where you're able to sign up. Now, when you sign up for Facebook, you are not signing up as a business page. You are signing up as an individual. So me, as Ross Simmons, when I sign up, I would sign up as a person. I would sign up as a profile. Versus if I was a business, I would need to first have this profile and then create it. So let me show that a little bit further. So humans have profiles. This would be my Facebook profile itself. As you can see, there's a significant, it does look very similar to, say, Subway, who would have a page. The key difference, however, is that you have to add me as a friend because I'm a human versus on a page, you have to like them. Um, so with a business page, you cannot go out and on your own try to add a bunch of people as friends. As a business page, consumers have to say, yes, I like this business, and therefore I'm going to press the like button. When it comes to a profile, it's just like regular life. If you want to be connected with someone, they have to be your friend. And that's how it works with Facebook. So to create a business page, however, you first need to create this profile. And now I'm going to just quickly show you kind of how that would work. So say, for example, I signed up for Facebook using that profile that I just showed you, Jamie Simmons, and I logged in. Once I get here, I would add a bunch of friends. These people would become my friends on Facebook. And then the next step would be for me to create a page. So over here on the left-hand side, you have we have our news feed, and then we have kind of a dashboard. And this is really the place where creating a page takes place. You simply press that button, create a page, and then you go through this process. So as you go through here, you're able to select what your business is all about, what your organization is at the core, and then from there you're able to actually select what type of business you are. So for me, let's say for example, I'm a local business, and the category is a concert venue. From there, I would fill out this information, and after filling this out, I would have to agree and develop a page. The next step would allow me to create a page, which would be very similar to what we saw with the Subway account. So let me show you. I made a mock page earlier. So here it is. So let's say I went through the process and I developed a Facebook page. A Facebook page would look like this. So as we can see, it is managed by Ross Simmons, who is me, as a profile, and I've developed a business page. So this business page is where all of the content would be. This is where people would connect with my business, and this is where I would really start to tell my story. On Facebook, you have an opportunity to do a lot of branding, so you get to upload a profile picture along with a cover photo, and this is all a part of Timeline. So the key thing to recognize here is the difference between a profile, which is someone as an individual. So I would have all my friends, I'd have photos I've been tagged in, my job, what university I went to. And then on a business page, however, it would show simply a profile picture, the name of the business, your hours of operation, and of course your timeline itself below. That's the key difference between the two. There are a few other things, and we'll dive into that shortly. So once you've identified the fact that you need to create a profile for yourself as an individual and a business page for your organization, you have to start recognizing how you can bring that page to life. There are other options that you can create on Facebook, such as a group, but groups are not used as much as they used to be. Groups are typically used in terms of communities. So people who want to stay connected, want notification on things on the regular basis. This is where groups really start to come to life. You can add members to a group, while on a profile, you add friends. In pages, you have to hope for likes. A few things, just a few insights. I remember last call, we had a discussion around a couple people who were looking for opportunities to move a profile to a page. There's a URL at the bottom of my screen that you can see here, facebook.com/pages/create.php migrate. If you go to this URL, you will be able to transform your profile into a page. And I strongly recommend that everyone do that if you have incorrectly set yourself up with a Facebook profile for your business rather than a page. So, what else should you know about business pages? Businesses should use pages instead of profiles, simply because it's against Facebook's rules and guidelines. If they do catch you with a profile going around adding a bunch of people as friends, what you'll find is that they will shut your profile down. And that's the last thing that you want to happen, especially if you're putting in lots of time into managing this profile itself. One thing that you'll also recognize is that pages allow for multiple admins. So if you have a team of people and that team of people are already signed up for Facebook as their own personal individuals, you can allow these people to act as admins on your Facebook page, which is great. So how do you do that? I will show you that right now. So what you're able to do, if I wanted to add people as an admin on this Facebook page that I created here, I would basically go into this thing that's called an admin panel. And this is what shows up as timeline. So I'll slow down quickly. You have your profile picture here, you have your cover photo, and then there will be a little button up at the top that says show. What you want to do is press show, and you'll be able to see a variety of different pieces of information about your page. You'll be able to see where you can invite your friends to join. You'll be able to see how many people have liked you recently. You'll also be able to get notifications on the amount of conversation and engagement that is happening with your brand itself. Um, what we're looking to do is manage our admins. So if you go up here, you can see where it says edit page. And what edit page allows you to do is it allows you to really start to customize this thing. So it allows you to update your info. That would be where you can list your hours of operation, where you're able to change the name of your Facebook page, where you're able to set some privacy settings on your Facebook page. So if you're an alcohol beverage company, and you want to make it so the only people who can like your page are above the age of um, I don't know, 19 or 18, depending on where you live, you'd be able to select manage permissions and actually update that. I did notice someone raise their hand there, Bruce Bishop. If you guys want to add that to the question bar, I can get to it at the end of the webinar for sure. So if you go into this and you are managing your permissions, you'll see that there's a variety of different things here. So this is what I was talking about when I said you can select people 21 and older, anyone, that kind of thing. So there's lots of information there that you have control over, and you're able to take control over for your business page itself. So if you wanted to add admins, what would that mean? So if you again go to edit page, there's an admin role section. You would click that, and that's where you're able to actually type in the name or the email of the people who you also want to have access to your page. So if you're an organization with a social media team and you don't want to be the only person there, you can type in the name of your friend, and then they can also join you as an admin on that page. From there, you're able to select how much info they can actually have access to. So you can select that some people are only going to control your advertisements. Some people are only going to be allowed to update content. Others are going to be able to do some deep diving into your analytics. There's a lot of things here that you're able to select, and really that's depending on the team that you've developed. Once I've added them as a friend, I simply press save, type in my password, and then from there, Jamie would get a notification on his Facebook page saying that I've allowed him to have access to Ross's Great Adventures Facebook page. And that's how you would add someone to an admin. What's great about this is that you want to add people as admins to your page because you never know how long somebody's going to be with that organization. If I wanted to remove Jamie from the admin page, I simply press this X button and there he's gone. It's as simple as that. So the next piece is really about Facebook ads. Ads are also something that can be generated on Facebook pages. We're going to dive into Facebook ads themselves in Facebook 2.0, just because it takes a little bit of more detailed descriptions around how to actually bring ads to life and keep them extremely targeted, which is the most important thing. Contests can also be run on pages, which is great. It allows for a lot of customization, so you can create tabs, for example, where there's a pure integration of Facebook and a typical website where you're able to run those contests, run those campaigns. From there, pages also provide analytics. So the great thing about pages versus a profile, you can see how many people are looking at your photos. You can see how many people are liking your statuses. You can see how many people are sharing them. You can also see where they're coming from, which is great. With a profile, um, the second limitation is that it's not always publicly visible. If I'm in Ontario and I'm doing a search, I'm less likely to find a profile than I am to find a page. Facebook puts a lot of weight behind their business pages, and because of that, on the search bar, if you do a search, you're more likely to see a page than you are a profile. So how can you create an effective Facebook page? This is something that we're going to discuss today. And again, like I said before, the most important thing is to set those objectives. Find out what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Is your business simply a tourism destination operator? Are you mainly generating awareness of a specific region? If that's what you're trying to do, you can't really set an objective to be focused around measuring sales. Thus, your key measurement might be to drive traffic to some of your operators' websites. Or if you are an operator, yes, your number one goal is more than likely sales. So you have to identify business objectives that will allow you to reach that goal. So Facebook pages have created this thing called timeline. And timeline is extremely interesting because it's for the first time, brands have complete control over the story that they're telling on Facebook. As you can see in the visual here, this is what timeline looks like. On the left, where it has the Honda logo, this is your profile picture. This is what is going to show up in people's news feeds every single day that you do a status update. And it's really important that you have a profile picture that is iconic and something that um, can quickly be recognized. The reason why it's important is because users will not see this page on a regular basis. What they're going to see is your status updates. So let me explain that for a second. So on Facebook, if I was to go on just as a regular person, I would see my newsfeed, which is this. This is the content that is going on from my friends, from brands that I subscribe to, and from people who I simply have pressed the like button for, or businesses who I've actually liked on Facebook. So, for example, here you can see that I've liked WestJet. I know the WestJet logo, and that's why they've used it as a profile picture, because they know that this little logo with the upside down V is something that's iconic. It kind of symbolizes their brand and their business, and it tells their story. What they've done is they've recognized this and they've used it as a profile picture. A lot of businesses have the issue where they use a profile picture that doesn't really tell a story. I don't see any here, but a lot of businesses will use this profile picture of just a hamburger, for example. A hamburger is not your brand. Your brand is that logo. It's that name. It's your icon. It's that message. So what you need to do is ensure that you're telling your story through your profile picture, but also that you're supporting your brand. What you saw in the Honda case is that what they do is they integrate their icon, which is their logo, with the story that they're trying to tell. And the story that they're trying to tell is that their consumer story is their story. So they've basically taken a lot of photos that they've had uploaded to their timeline from their consumers, their fans, and they've turned those into their cover photo. What you see here is the applications for their page. What Timeline has done is they've made applications extremely less important than they've ever been before. So a lot of people say, do I need a Facebook app? Should we develop Facebook applications? In today's world, the majority of people are less likely to engage with applications than ever before. And that's solely because applications have been giving so much less landscape on Facebook. What you want to focus on is that content that you're creating and sharing in your status updates. That's where you can tell a story. That's where the message really starts to be told. For anyone who's logging on to the phone, I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. Just press *6 and it will mute your phone, but you'll still be able to hear me. Um, from there, once you've developed your Facebook look and feel and you've recognized the importance of having that iconic shot, the next piece is this landscape photo, that cover photo. It's 851 by 315 pixels. What you need to do is upload a photo here that is relevant and truly tells your brand story. Cover photos are extremely important because when somebody first sees your page, this is where they're going to land. They're going to land on your Facebook timeline. They're going to look at this, and this is where the story begins to be told. So it's definitely important to have a cover photo that truly tells your brand. Subway does a great job here. It says twice as nice. Sure, you may never see a sub that ever looks that good when you actually walk in, but the story is being told. It tells you that you can get 2 subs and it's a great deal. They look amazing, they're beautiful, delicious, all of that great stuff. From there, another interesting change that has happened with Facebook is this message feature. So what you'll find now, if any of you have a Facebook page set up, you'll notice that people can actually contact you privately now. Before, it all had to be out in the open, in front of everyone, and there was no conversations that happened behind closed doors. Facebook has come around. They've recognized the importance for brands to really control their story. And because of that, they've now allowed you to have communication with your customers behind the scenes. So you can have that one on one conversation. And this kind of reduces the fear that Facebook has provided with to a lot of marketers. A lot of us were afraid that if we set up a Facebook account, people would come on there and take control of our brands and they would destroy our reputation. What has happened now is that there's this message feature where people can contact you privately, where those messages about complaints or issues can be resolved behind closed doors, which is great. Friends are also important with the new revised timeline. What you see is that as soon as someone lands on your page, Facebook will tell them exactly how many friends they have that have liked a page. And people are more likely to like a page that their friends have liked as well. And because of that, it's important that we support our Facebook pages with ads that will allow us to increase the number of connections that we have. From there, it's also important to recognize that timeline is, in fact, a timeline. It's called timeline for a reason. What happens on Facebook is that there's now this timeline in place that allows you to go back into time and really start to speak to the history of your business, of your organization. There is an interesting campaign that I'll speak to in a little bit, but this, for example, on the Nova Scotia Facebook page, there is key dates located all throughout its timeline and it shows dates like when the Cape Breton Highlands became the first national park in Atlantic Canada. It shows these key dates and brings them to life. And then it allows you to really tell that story of your brand through milestones, through historic milestones, and tells you those iconic dates that have happened in the past. What you'll also want to keep in mind is that timeline has made things extremely visual. Visual status updates, visual content is key. I think there's a 2-time engagement rate if you share something with a visual versus just a text update. And because of that, there needs to be a strategy in place for your business where you recognize the importance of sharing content. When I was just signed into Facebook, you see this image that is being shared by WestJet. The reason why this is being shared so much and why people are liking it as much is not only because it's a great deal, but also because it's complemented with an image. If you remove this image from this status update, it's going to be shared much less because it's less engaging. People aren't as likely to read text as they are to look at an interesting image. So what you need to do is set up a strategy in place that will allow you to have these images shared by your brand and then shared by your consumers. And that's really when you start to see some of the magic happen about your business and your story. Um, so how else can you hack the timeline? There's a few different options that have happened with timeline recently that have really changed the game. There's this thing called pinning, and there's also an opportunity where you can schedule and target your posts. So let me explain how that happens. So if you're on Facebook, you go back to your business page itself. And what you're able to see, thanks Super 8 from St. John's for liking my page. What you'll be able to see is that there's a place down here where you would actually update your statuses. So this is where I, as the admin for this page, would create content that would show up in my fans' news pages. So for example, if I wrote, thanks for all the support, I put that and I shared it, it would show up in the news feed for all of my fans, everyone who has liked me. It shows up as my business, shows the time, and it goes out to the people who have pressed that like button on my page. What you're also able to do on Facebook, however, now is to actually do a little bit of customization. What you're able to do, for example, is highlight a post. And what a highlighted post does is it expands it across the entire timeline. And with a text status update, it doesn't look that great. But when you do it with an image, it showcases this beautiful visual image and it really starts to give a new dimension to your Facebook page. What you're also able to do if you're looking to hack Facebook is you're able to pin things at the top. So what that means is for 7 days, anyone who visits your page will see this specific post pinned up to the top. I saw an interesting one the other day. Let me see if I can pull it up. Uh, where is it? Not sure. I saw the Red Stag had a post that they had pinned up at the top of their page. What you can do is you can pin these, and then for the next 7 days, anyone who visits it will see that page pinned at the top, as you can see right here. So it sits up here as you continue to go throughout the day. So what you need to do is recognize that there's certain things that you'll share that you really want to place a lot of emphasis on. So for example, if I'm running an event, and I want people to come out to my event, what you would do is you'd pin that event at the top of your timeline so people can see it whenever they come to your page. Another interesting feature within timeline now is this little button over here that says schedule. So I've always recommended that people check out this website called hootsuite.com to schedule their content for Facebook. What I found, however, is that once Facebook launched Timeline, Hootsuite posts being shared on Facebook were not being picked up as frequently as posts that were being shared directly through this channel. So what Facebook has done now, and what I've realized, is that they've created a scheduling function directly into their Facebook page. So if I wanted to, for example, do a status update, I could schedule it well in advance. So it's not New Year's today, as we all know, but I can schedule this status update to go out for whatever time I want. Just have to do this first. Okay. So if I wanted to do a status update that said Happy New Year's, I basically could schedule this post for 2013, January 1st at 12 a.m. So I'm not actually there. I'm not actually going to be on Facebook, but for any of my fans or likes who are actually there on the page, they will see this in their newsfeed. So it's scheduled, and now it will go out on Tuesday, January 1st, 2013 at 12 a.m. At that time, it will show up in their newsfeed similar to this content here. It would show up as a status update from my brand. And it's all because I would schedule it using Facebook's actual manager itself, which is located right here when you click to update a status. If you were looking to share an image, you would simply click this, where it says photo/video, and you would upload the content directly from your desktop or laptop. So that's Timeline in a nutshell. How can you start to build your following? How can you start to generate traction to your Facebook page? This is really one of the most important pieces of Facebook because you don't want to talk to yourself. That's the worst thing that could happen. You set up this beautiful page, and for months, you're talking to no one but your aunts, your uncles, and cousins. So how can you create a Facebook channel that will be effective? First, you have to start building a following. And the way to do that, one of the most effective approaches is by using Facebook ads. If your brand doesn't have the budget to do Facebook ads, I always recommend that you capitalize on your current contacts and the people who walk into your store on a regular basis. In the off season, you're going to want to look at emails that you've captured throughout the year. Email those people and let them know that you're now on Facebook. Tag people in photos of your actual property. Whatever you need to do to start to generate more fans on Facebook. The likes on your page are crucial to your success, so you definitely want to place emphasis on that. And during our session next week, we'll be diving deeper into how to create effective ads. It's also important to recognize how that funnel works. The majority of people will use search, and what search is for is to you search happens when I'm looking for you. What happens with ads is when you find me as a consumer. So what ads allow us to do is to really find those people who would be interested in our business and then connect with them. Simply because Facebook ads allow us to be extremely targeted, and we'll dive into that deeper again, like I said, on Monday. So why would someone want to like you on Facebook? Well, here are a few reasons. So the number one reason why people like brands on Facebook is to receive a discount or a promotion. 40% of people like you because of that. Number two, they want to show support for the business. Third, to stay informed about the business. Fourth, to get a freebie or a sample. And then finally, updates on sales or discounts. Now, on initial look, when you look at something like this, you immediately think, wow, people just want discounts. That's all they want. They want us to give away free stuff, and that's not how it's going to work. Focus on number two and three. I mean, 39% versus 40% between one and two is not that significant. The number two item is to show support of the business. People want to like you if you are offering them great product, if you are offering them a great business to actually be compelling enough to feel connected to. If I feel connected to your business, I will be more likely to press that like button. I'll want to hear your stories. I'll want to stay connected with you. And this is why you need to be on Facebook, because people do want to support brands that they like. And it's much better to talk to 100 people who love you and are obsessed with your business than 1,000 people who don't care. So if you have a small number right now, don't sweat about it. Focus on being the best for those customers and have them tell the story for you. That's how you'll bring this thing to life, because you really need to identify how you can activate your fans, how you can get them talking. Um, a lot of businesses use Facebook as a push channel. It needs to be an engaging channel. People go on Facebook to socialize. They go on Facebook to talk, to have conversations, to build relationships, to have fun. So you need to be fun. You need to be engaging. You need to be relevant when you're using this channel. So how do you do that? You do that by activating them. And when I say activating them, I mean you do that by providing them with content that they'll want to share, because you need to inspire your consumers to share your story. You want to develop a small little group of people who will act as marketers for you, because they're more likely to press that like button, because they're more likely to share your content. That's how you bring your brand to life on Facebook. So, how do you do that? You can start by sparking a conversation. I always like to say, when you're on Facebook, communicate with your fans like you would communicate with your friends. Skinny Cow Canada did this status update a little while ago. What's more delicious, 1 year of free shoes or 1 year of free spa treatments? Now, their target audience is obvious. They're speaking to women. And look at the amount of comments that they are getting on the status update, simply because they are being conversational, because they're being engaging. And once they start to do this, for all of these 117 people who commented on it, all of their friends are seeing in their newsfeed, um, Karen Swan just wrote spa treatments on Skinny Cow Canada's status update. What that does to her friends is it makes them intrigued. So they'll click on that status update to see more. And then possibly they'll press that like button. And that's where your brand as Skinny Cow would start to build that relationship with your customer. A few quick and easy ideas for how you can bring your brand to life. True or false questions. They're always fun, they're always easy to do, and it always sparks instant conversation with your fans. Impulse, one of the new brands from Axe, sent out a status update, and it said, true or false, one scent can smell different on two different people. They got 66 comments. It sparks that engagement, it sparks that conversation, and because of that, it builds a relationship with your customers. Another easy trick of the trade, like bait. I love like bait. It's one of the easiest ways to convince people to promote your brand easily. So, for example, Buffalo Bill's Ice Cream is an ice cream company out of the States. They did a status update, and it simply said, like this status if Buffalo Bills remind you of your childhood. 8,338 people pressed that like button. So if you multiplied 8,338 by 150 friends that those people would have on average, that's hundreds of thousands of people who could possibly see that status update. The reach is exponential simply because of the way that Facebook works. So you want to do status updates that inspire people to comment, to share, to press that like button because it allows your brand to really start to be sold. And that's when your story comes to life and a relationship with your customers starts to be developed. So, why would someone unlike you on Facebook? I mean, this is one of those things that really hurts. I mean, we all stay up late at night and we're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe so many people have unliked me. And these are the reasons why. No one likes to be unliked at the end of the day. So, what's the number one reason? The company posts too often. And there is a simple, easy solution to this because the reason why the majority of companies post too often is because they get excited. So a customer, the page manager will have an hour off just to use Facebook and to promote Facebook because they just had an amazing session and they are all excited about it. And what they'll do is they'll go on Facebook for an hour and they'll do a status update every 10 minutes just because they're so excited, because they're amped up and they are looking to really take Facebook to the next level. We all have that friend on Facebook whose status update gets updated every hour, every day that they have a lunch, every day they have a coffee, every time their baby burps. Everyone has those friends on Facebook. Don't be that guy with your business. What you need to do is focus on ensuring that the story that you're telling on Facebook is consistent, but not to a place where it's repetitive enough that makes it annoying. You want to ensure that if you're doing status updates, I have a kind of a benchmark of 1 to 2 a day. 1 to 2 status updates a day that are compelling and interesting will definitely do the trick. From there, the number two reason why people unlike you, too much marketing. It's sell, sell, sell. That's why I encourage that like bait, that content that is light, that's not about the sale. Um, Content is boring and irrelevant. Again, you want to tell your story in a compelling way. You want to be creative. You have to think outside of the box when you're telling that story. I only like them for an offer. This is one of the things that happens very often. What you need to do when you're running an offer or when you're running a contest is to ensure that it's directly tied to your business. You don't want to give away an iPad if you run a B&B. You would give away something like a tour that is just 2 blocks up the road. Something that is directly related to your business that somebody who would be interested in that would also be interested in your business. And then finally, not enough deals. At the least, guys, I would always recommend at least do one kind of offer or deal a year. The final step is to really make the sale. And the way that you make the sale is to take control of your brand. Own your brand. If you're going to run a discount, if you're going to run an offer, make sure that it's fully branded and it's focused around your business. Everybody has heard of Groupon, TeamBuy, all of those companies that have simply taken over online successfully because they've been using businesses, small businesses in particular, to run these kind of deep discount deals. What we need to do is recognize that we can control that story. We can take control of our own deals and on Facebook have 281 people share it and actually use it without having to give that deep discount away to a third party. So take control of your brand. That's definitely something else that you want to do. From there, another quick and easy idea, an example of a local company here, 2F by C. What they do is they host these dinners in person. They call them 2F by C family dinners. So what happens is every month they announce on Facebook, we're having a family dinner. A local chef comes in, they cook a 4 course meal, and then they end up tagging tons of people in these photos. As that starts to happen, a story gets told. A story about how they're looking to be this tight niche community where people can come and have these family dinners with us and have quality meals. In doing that, by supporting local chefs, local farmers, local businesses, They're telling a story that is directly related to the people who they're trying to attract. If they can do that, if they can tell that story effectively, people will start to feel a relationship with their restaurant, with their cafe, and they'll constantly come back because the story that they were told is relevant, interesting, and most importantly, it was compelling. Compelling enough for them to like this status and to ultimately come to the next family dinner. So the next final piece that we're going to discuss is the importance of measurement, and the importance of really tracking how much information you can get from Facebook and how to do better. So this is an example of a status update that I just shared on one of my businesses page a little while ago, and it was just a simple status update with Theodore the tugboat. It says, "I didn't choose the tug life chose me." It's funny, it's interesting, and tons of people started to share it. They shared it because it was telling a compelling story. So, what I was able to do after looking at this is recognize that if I want things to be shared in the local market and for it to go viral, I can do things that are playing off of local insights, things that are clever and related to the Atlantic Canada, that are cute and funny, and people will start to share them. The post was seen by 33,000 people with zero marketing budget. I didn't pay for an ad. All I did was create an interesting status update. So what I was able to see is that I had 300 people who saw the post, and then from there, it actually started to go viral. So 267 people started to share it, so on and so forth. What you want to do is monitor your page insights. You want to keep track of the conversations that are happening, how viral certain status updates go in comparison to others, and then create a content strategy built around that. So if I do a status update and I notice that it didn't see a huge increase in views or shares or likes, maybe I have to look at that status update and identify what was it about that post that fell flat. Was it too much marketing? Should I have included a call to action? Maybe like this post, share this with your friends. It's a great video. What could I have done to really bring this to life in a better sense? So those are the kind of things that you need to monitor when you're diving into your Facebook Insights. And again, Facebook Insights are very easy to track. Basically, when you have your page set up, if you have over 30 likes, you would have access to all of the insights about your page, which you would see on that slide that I just had up here. So you're able to track things like how many people are engaged with your post, how many users have actually liked you this week. You're able to pull a lot of different information to make educated decisions later on. So that's our first Facebook session. I know it's a lot, and we're going to be diving in again even more deep on Monday, so I hope all of you can join us then. After that, we're going to get into search engine optimization, followed by content creation, and then finally, our last session is going to be all about TripAdvisor best practice. Again, remember the quote that I gave about Dr. Seuss. You have brains in your heads, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. If Facebook is not the channel that is going to work best for you, you don't necessarily have to use it. You have to go back to those goals and objectives that we talked about before and figure out if this is where your audience would best communicate with your brand, and if this is the channel that would best tell your story. And if it is, then it's up to you to make the decision of whether or not you're willing to put in the time and effort to bring the combination of compelling storytelling with social media to really bring your brand to life. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, happy to take them.
Thanks very much, Ross. Again, a great presentation. There seem to be a lot of questions there. So maybe you can work down through the question and answer field.
Will do. Let's see here. Show. All right.
You seen the question, or would you like for me to ask them?
So I'm seeing a lot of questions that have been answered. Those are the ones with the check mark. So I'm going, do you want me to go through those or just the ones that are not with the check mark?
I think the ones that are left unanswered.
Okay, perfect. So I have one from Adam in Nova Scotia. How many posts is too many? So for me, too many posts would be, I'd say at a maximum per day, you don't want to have more than four. And the reason why I say that is because there's a few key times in a day where you want to share your content. So in the morning, that's when people are just waking up. Typically, they'll pull out their mobile device before they even roll out of bed. They'll scroll through and they'll start to see some status updates. So if you can create content that is shared early in the morning, um, using that schedule tool that I showed you, it's great because that's when people wake up. From there, there's a key opportunity at lunch because people are typically on lunch, so they go to Facebook and they do some browsing. From there, the end of the day. So around 5 o'clock, when people are just getting off work, or even towards 4 o'clock, you'll notice that productivity around the world tends to go down. And it goes down because people are getting less enthusiastic about their day to day job and they start using Facebook, Twitter, and engaging on social media. The next time that you want to have that content being shared is kind of around 8 o'clock at night. And what happens at 8 o'clock is, as we all know, we try to disconnect from the world by simply connecting on with our friends on Facebook. So we do a few creeping on our friends, find out what's going on in their world. And in this multi device world, we typically will watch TV with a laptop sitting on our lap. So we're engaging in a variety of different channels, but Facebook is definitely one of them. So four is kind of the max that I would do a day. And again, it's also important to recognize how many people you actually have that like you. If you only have, I don't know, 100 people who like your page, four a day might be too much. So you're probably going to want to do two. But if you have 1,000 people, four a day is great. So I see another question from Andrew Taylor. Do the same type of analytics exist for events? They don't. Your events in Facebook is one of those things that they're still working on and they haven't really cracked just yet. They don't have analytics associated with them. What they do have is an ability for you to go into the back end of analytics, like I have up here on the screen, and you can see how much impressions a certain post would have. So you can see how many people saw your event, but you can't see how many people press maybe versus decline. There's no kind of engagement in that sense. But good question. I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed, that they do launch something soon that provides deep analytics and insights into events. But as it stands, there's nothing out there. Question from Troy. I have an interesting challenge. We created a group early on and have over 3,000 members. Seems there is no easy way to move them over to our page, which only has 800 members. Can't delete group until all members are removed. Um, yeah, that is an interesting challenge. I think there's really no way to move them using Facebook beyond the fact that you're going to want to promote within the group the fact that you have a page now. So what you could do is encourage people to constantly don't forget to like our page. And you do this in the group because they're going to get an email every single time you do an update there. So if you do an update in the group, everyone who's those 3,000 members will get an email saying, Troy has updated a status to this group. Read it here. Once those people see that, hopefully they have that relationship with your business that they're likely to click that link and actually like you. I have a question from Louise. Is it possible to modify your company name on a Facebook page, or do you have to open a whole new page to do so? If I have to open a new page, is it possible to transfer likes from the old page to the new one? Great question. So you are able to edit the name of your Facebook page. If you are following my screen, you'll see, I'll go back to the start here. If you're following my screen on the screen share, you'll see where it has, again, the admin panel. You'll want to open that up, click Edit Page, go to Update Info. Once there, it shows the name of your page. You simply update that and you're able to change the name of your page. So you don't actually have to create a new page to change it. I don't think I have any more questions.
Destination Labrador, Ross asked the question, how much is too much Twitter?
Too much Twitter? I don't believe there is too much Twitter. I think that because of the fact that Twitter is a real-time channel, you can't tweet too much. The more you tweet, there is a direct relationship in how much you tweet and how many followers you have. If you tweet a lot, your followers will go up. If you don't tweet a lot and you're providing somewhat mundane content, you're not going to see a huge growth in the amount of followers that you have. People are looking to, the more content you put out, the more opportunities you have to be retweeted, which is why I think on Twitter, tweet your heart out.
Okay. And I think that's probably it, Ross, for the question. I'm not seeing any more right now. So again, Ross, thanks for a great presentation. You can see from the feedback there in the chat window, people really enjoyed it. I think there's no mistake that Facebook has had a huge impact on how we do business. And indeed, Facebook and any other social media without a strategy will become, you know, an untamable beast. So we really need to think about the strategy, and you brought that up today. So without any more questions, I want to thank you on behalf of Beth, Lindsay, and Jamie for participating in our webinar today. Don't forget that TourismTechnology.com offers mentoring sessions for operators who want to dig a little deeper into your online presence. We want to put you in charge of your technology plan, so feel free to communicate with either of us. Shortly, you will receive an email about today's session. Take a few moments to complete the questions and help us get better at this. If you liked the webinar, tell a friend, and if you didn't, tell us, please. The next webinar is scheduled for Monday, September 17th, and the topic is Facebook 201, generating revenue from Facebook. On behalf of our partners, the Province of New Brunswick, the Province of Prince Edward Island, the Province of Nova Scotia, the Province of Newfoundland, Labrador, TINB, TIAPI, TIANS, Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador, and Tourism Atlantic COA, thank you for your participation and continued support. We hope to see you back on Monday. Have a great week, everyone. Ross, there just might be a couple of quick ones there.